You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, let's talk about the Raiders because, honest to God, I don't know what the hell happened yesterday other than Andy Dalton, but it seems Antonio Pierce, who's a massive fan favorite amongst the fan base as coach, he believes there were, quote, business decisions made by players on the team yesterday in what is just can only be described as a baffling effort against the team that you would assume, and well, assumptions are a mother. We all know how that goes, against a team that they should have beaten. But my God, especially after beating the Ravens, by the way. I mean, that's the thing here. But this was Antonio Pierce's comments.
The team just didn't seem to show up tonight.
No, they didn't. I think as the game went on, I don't think it was a team. I think there was definitely some individuals that made business decisions, and will make business decisions going forward as well.
Antonio.
Okay, and in case you did not get that, he said the following. As the game went on, there were some individuals that made business decisions. So we'll be making business decisions going forward as well. Look, that's kind of why I appreciate this guy. Now, you guys know, I said he was the guy unless they could have gotten Jim Harbaugh in the building, right? I did think Jim was the guy, and that in itself was splitting the fan base because there were Raiders fans that wanted Jim Harbaugh, and Mark Davis was pretty interested in Jim Harbaugh, but I like Antonio Pierce. I do. Now, you may be like, well, who was he referring to as far as actual players? Well, it looks like Davante Adams. That's right, the star wide receiver that I think a lot of us has been suspecting, and I honestly thought it would happen in the offseason. A lot of us thought he'd end up with the New York Jets, right? With Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers loves him. He loves Aaron Rodgers, yada, 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 yada. And we'll get to some response on this rant. But, guys, let's just look real fast. This is what happened yesterday. Gardner Minshew actually got pulled. 18 for 28, 214. And Aiden O'Connell came in, was 9 for 12 for 82, and both of them had a touchdown. Gardner had a interception. But Davante Adams was 4 for 40 yesterday. Once again, the main guy that the Patriots should have kept, Jacoby Myers, a guy I really liked, 7 for 62 and a touch. Trey Tucker had 7 for 96, but that's not the story. The Raiders allowed Andy Dalton to look like Joe Montana out there. Seriously. 26 for 37, 319, and 3 touchdowns, and officially the Panthers have a lot more talent than we thought they had, but we sort of suspected. And I guess Dave Canales suspected it too. Deontay Johnson, 8 for 122. I mean, seriously, Xavier Legette, who wasn't getting any play, 2 for 42. Adam Thielen, 3 for 40. And they ran the ball all over the Steelers. 21 for 114, 5.4 a carry for Chuba, right? And he added another 55 in the air. I mean, my God, Chuba Hubbard had 160 altogether on the Raiders yesterday. So that led a lot of people to look at this, right? A little potential trade speculation involving Davante Adams. So this is what happened. It's hard to be certain which players Pierce was referring to, but the body language of the star wide receiver, Davante Adams, looked disgusted at halftime and certainly left much to be desired. That's him, and that's the look on his face. Now, I don't expect him to look just real happy, considering they're losing to the Panthers. But, guys, you cannot go out there and beat the Ravens and turn around and look like that versus the Panthers. Not only that, but on a side note, if you go back and look at Andy Dalton's last 16 games, Guys, Andy Dalton's a starter right now. If you look at his last 16 games, I looked at him this morning, and I was like, okay, has anybody noticed this besides me now? Quote, I feel like I don't know. This is tough for me to identify. I'm not sure. That's what Adams said about Antonio Pierce's comments. Adams sat on the bench as his teammates fled to the locker room trailing 21-7 in search of answers during a horrific performance. It is unlikely Adams will be on the team next year thanks to an out in his contract that could free Las Vegas from $44.1 million in a cap hit. That's the highest among all non-QBs. All right? So, obviously, that comes to this. The Jets, considering his long-standing relationship with Aaron Rodgers, could be among the potential trade suitors, with the Chiefs and the Saints also possibilities. Well, all right, this guy right here came out and said he works for FS1. Joe Douglas should call an impulsive and angry Raiders front office this morning and go all in for Davante Adams. This is a little response. Brett Veach should actually do this too. I mean, wow, seriously. The other one that's popping up out there is Omar Khan. There it is right there. And I thought I had another one pulled up for you, but Omar Khan of the Pittsburgh Steelers, we got to remember they tried and thought they had Brandon Ayuk coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers from the 49ers. Now, I don't know that Davante Adams is going to want to go play with Justin Fields, although Justin Fields, by the way, looks like a real guy all of a sudden, and it's 3-0. Seriously, if you're the Bears organization at this point, I mean, you look an awful lot like the Jets when it comes to handling quarterbacks. Because Sam Darnold looks like a dude now, too. So does Geno Smith. You get my point that I'm trying to make, and that's kind of a side rant, but yikes. I've got to think it's going to be the Jets. If he gets shipped out of town, it's going to be the Jets that he goes to. I don't think they're going to trade him to the Chiefs because Antonio Pierce is not going to punt on the season. I don't think that's in his no way is that actually flowing through his veins right now. The ability to punt on the season this early. I just don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. By the way, I just brought that up with Andy Dalton. Let me pull that up because I want other people to see what I saw earlier. Last 7, let's just call it 16 starts. Andy Dalton is 7-9 with basically 3,600 yards and 23 touchdowns and 9 picks in his last 16 games. Guys, there's starters in the league that wish they were that solid. I mean, being honest, okay? That's interesting. It makes you wonder if the reports of Andy Dalton's demise have been greatly exaggerated. But that would have been among Andy Dalton's best years ever in his last 16 games, 16 starts. Now, that's interesting. I mean, he's 7-9, so he's middle of the road. But, I mean, still, that's, what is that, 18-23 starting quarterback play? Yeah, it sort of is. That's just a side note. But, so what's going to happen? I will say this. Something I noticed as I was looking through the comments on Antonio Pierce's rant. There are some Raiders fans that are already out on him. Seriously, already done with him. All right? They just named him the coach after a disastrous Josh McDaniels. Now, it's got to be said, and I'm going to say it. One of the biggest bitchers and complainers of Josh McDaniels was Davante Adams. And remember, he threw a fit over Jimmy Garoppolo, too. So, I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm going to say it. Was it Josh McDaniels or was it Davante Adams that was the problem on this team last year? I don't know. I mean, they turned the season around. Do I really think it was Josh McDaniels? Yes. But that had to be said out loud. It had to be said out loud. Tell me what you think, black and white sports supporters. Oh, the Raiders are a mess all of a sudden. Man, I was thinking for sure they'd at least flirt with a playoff spot this year. Peace, I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.